Welcome, traveler. You have entered a realm of adventure. Prepare yourself for tales from Beyond the Dice.
Beyond the Dice is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play podcast set in a cyberpunk city called New Ettica. I'm your Dungeon Master Luke, and your players are...
Ben, and I play Cortaine, the level 5 human fighter.
Jeff, I play Gaige, a level 5 human wizard.
Peter, I'm playing Spigs. He's a level 5 dwarf artificer.
My name is Travis and I play Little Moss and he is a level 5 half-orc monk.
Ooh, very good. Alright, can I get all of you gentlemen to roll a d20 for me? And whoever gets the lowest roll, without any modifiers, tells us what happens previously. Or what happened previously, I should say.
I got a 1, Luke.
Got a 1? That cancels everyone's out, and you have to recount the tail.
Even if I rolled a 1 after that.
Did you?
No. I'm just saying.
Well, if there was multiple ones, you then have a roll off.
Well, I didn't roll, so...
Yeah, you... Okay, so... Anyone else get a 1?
Negative.
Wait.
You guys are all too good at rolling.
My interface changed. Oh no, 19.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah?
I rolled a 2.
Dang you! You
Luke, question. If
Yeah.
someone gets a 20 and someone gets a 1, what happens?
You
The powers combine?
can't divide by 0.
Podcast explodes. I get
Yep. Yeah, we shut down. No, I don't know what would happen. We'll just have to find out. And however I feel on the night, I guess that's what will happen. Okay. Ben, what happened previously?
So, previously, we were still trying to rescue Thundergunk from the bookie place. And
Correct.
it took the guys a while to catch up to Cortaine, because they were running down a corridor while Cortaine was killing dudes. They threatened to kill the hostages if I didn't stop, but hostages didn't really mean anything to me, so I kept going. So that, joke's on them. Then I believe there was some kind of zone of cold that was cast. Gaige ran through, started fighting dudes. Little Moss came into the room and had some kind of epileptic fit on the ground. He was trying to, maneuver himself around the people, but he ended up just trying to punch a snowflake and then rolling on the ground. And then we basically killed the bad guys. The main wizard dude, he teleported away like a bit of a coward.
Yep.
And then Gaige got in the way of Cortaine enacting justice upon a member of the Edict of Ire and got himself down. And that's where we left it.
That is where we left it. And that, my friends, is where we are going to commence this session. So this is still in the bookies in Darkhaven. Now we're in this small room and half of the lights are broken, the other half are dull and flickering. And every surface in the room is covered in a thin layer of frost from this zone of cold that hit from the Hobgoblin Technomage that was in the room. Now bodies litter the floor, both civilians and syndicate criminals. Spigs and Little Moss stand next to the dead. Thundergunk, surprised, looking at the scene in front of him on his knees, his glasses slightly askew. Cortaine stands there, unmoving in his heavy armor, his shield, and his bastard sword glowing in his hand. We see Brax, the operative from the Edict of Ire. He is kneeling, holding his jacket over the wound, and blood is slowly pooling beneath Gaige. Gaige shudders, arching his back, and his hands begin to twitch and shake and he's convulsing. Then suddenly his hands flick. They're still in a death grip. The veins on his neck and his forehead pop out like that of a bodybuilder's arms when they're pumping weight. There's an eerie silence, and then a pulse of magical force bursts out of Gaige. And I would like everybody to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh no. 16. Well, not bad. 14 for Cortaine.
Same for Moss.
Spigs,
13.
you all fail and take 7 force damage and 4 psychic damage.
Oh.
As this you see this field of energy, it's almost invisible, just emanates out of Gaige, pushing you all back 5 squares, hitting into you, and you feel obviously this shattering force hit you, like, you know, you being basically you running into a brick wall, and then it ripples up into your head and you just hear a squeal of feedback, like a high-pitched squeal. You see this scene from above as the camera slowly zooms out. Gaige is laying there, and the dim lights of the bookies become warm yellow lights. The dark jacket covering him turns white, and the scene fades from a dark room at the bookies into a bright, warm bedroom. Gaige is amongst white sheets. The amber sunlight pokes through the thin curtains. It's warm this time of year. Gaige, you feel someone with a gentle touch softly nudge your shoulder, and you open your eyes. Bethany is sitting on the side of the bed, and she has on your favourite blue and white checkered dress. Mal, it's almost 10 a.m. You can't sleep all day. John's coming over, remember? The barbecue? I have the kids cleaning the yard. Sometimes I forget how much stuff they have. She kisses you on the forehead and leaves. The door is open, and you can see right into the living room. As you begin getting the things you need for your barbecue, you're looking out at the palm trees and you can hear the ocean. You're drawn away from your distraction when you notice Beth coming out into the small backyard of your house. She hangs her arms around you, looking into your eyes, and she says, I think it's really nice that you've been doing everything you can to make John feel like family.
Oh, we just gotta do it. You know, he lost Marie. He's my partner. And my friend.
She kisses you again, and she pulls away as your phone rings. You open up the communicator in your AR, and you see it's John.
Hey, John. You gotta give those beers some time to cool. What's up?
Hey Mel, sorry. I'm gonna have to get a rain check on the barbecue. Tell Beth I was sorry. But we got another one. Patrol officer went to check this girl who got caught selling shade. When he got to her place, he found her there like the others. I'm here now. It's only been a few hours. I need you down here to cross-ref the area. I'll see you soon. Okay, buddy?
You could see, like, the frustration in Gaige's eyes. How, like, what he's got to do and the calculations he's making in his head and the sacrifices and everything about the job. And Beth could see it in his eyes straight away as well. I gotta go, Beth.
She's looking at you, and she sees your face change as John breaks her news to you. And she just quietly mouths the words, "It's okay, go." And she hugs you. And you make your way to your car, quickly moving down the side of your house, pushing open the gate to your front yard. Your car is in the driveway, and you climb in. And just as you put on your seatbelt, you look up and you see your kids watching from the window on the top level, smiling, waving at you.
Gaige like puts his hand forward and makes like a little pew, and then at them and then drives away.
Your son, he puts his hands up in the air like a criminal might do when he is called by the police, and then he just jumps backwards, and then they both rush to the window and continue to laugh. And you press the ignition and the car rumbles to life. You also flick the siren key on your display, and the red and blue signal lights initiate from the front of your car. You reverse out of your driveway. The white convertible, your Collis Corvette, tears up the road as you put the pedal to the floor. You race out of your street, and you see the palm trees and the beach pass by in a blur. You cross over Cyan Bridge, your home in the rearview mirror. You speed into the city, and it's so different from the estate you live in. The city is a cluster of buildings, towers, spiraling highways and bright lights. After racing through cramped streets and narrow alleyways, you arrive at the location that John sent you. The AR looks great in your new ocular implants. You meet a patrol officer outside the building. Detective Gaige, this way. Detective Bishop is waiting for you. No one's been in since we got the call. Room 1404. Man, it ain't pretty. Up this way, up this way. You enter the lobby. The patrol officer's with you. Hey, guess what? And he nods towards the elevator, and you see the elevator. It's covered in tape and some words scrawled on the aluminium in black marker, which reads, "Broken, not being repaired anytime soon." He then sort of motions for the stairs and shrugs, makes his way back outside. You make your way up this ghetto building. The paint in the hallways look as if it's trying to squirm its way away from the vile building. As you pass apartments, you hear the sounds of crying babies, TVs blaring, dogs barking, and people yelling. As you climb the stairs to level 14, a young half-orc man opens a door, looking at you as you pass. This floor is quiet. Various people are lurking at their doors to learn or hear anything they can about what has become of their neighbour. And you take out your data plate and click it to your right temple, and it connects to your ocular implants. It boots up. Diagnostics run across your AR slightly as you enter room 1404. John is there. You see coffee table, couch, TV, small kitchen, closet. Straight away, you notice some small blood stains, splatters from the door all the way to the bedroom.
While Gaige is looking at the scene, he grabs John by like the hand, and then puts his other hand over the top and shakes their hands together. All right, John, tell me what we've got.
All right. It seems that the perp booted in the door.
And then you both move over towards the door. You see that the little chain that connects the door and the wall that locks it is ripped out of the side of the wall. Mm-hmm. You see that where the doorknob and the lock is there has basically cracked and buckled, smashed through the doorway. So it looks like it's being kicked inwards. You see on the door that's open, the front door, there's an impact, and the door itself has sort of bent.
Yeah.
Looks like he's worked almost immediately. The blood splatters here, as you can see, they lead to the bedroom where she is. That's all I got so far. I've not wanted to enter until you got here.
And just remember that the way that detectives work in your city is that there is the analytical one, the one that looks all the evidence, that pieces it together, and then there's the one who is basically the brawn, the one that is there to tackle the criminal, to arrest them, to fight if needed. Happens quite often in your city because crime is always not out of control, but it's always pretty extreme. And you are the analytical one. Mm-hmm. John Bishop is the brawn.
Yep. Okay, so we walk and look at the body and try and piece together we know it's connected. So what are the telltale signs of its connection?
All right. In the bedroom, as you walk in, you follow the little bloodstains into the room. The sliding doors to the bedroom are open, and you see her, the shade dealer. She is upside down, hanging from her feet from the roof. And the ropes have been knotted around a large spike that has been hammered into the roof. Now her bottom jaw has been removed, and like all the others, it has been stapled into her head like a rotten crown. Her tongue has been removed. As you look over the body, you notice it's in one of her hands. This guy who does this, he thinks himself some sort of artist. Her stomach has been slashed and her intestines are wrapped around her wrists and waist so that her arms rest at a 45-degree angle to her body.
And her eyes.
They're gone. He keeps them. Strange symbols are painted on her face and her arms and her stomach in white ink. This is probably where I'll get you to roll investigate.
14.
Alright. You notice that the slashes were done with like a smaller sized knife. They weren't done with a cleaver or a short sword, a long sword or anything like that. It was done with, a dagger of sorts.
But not precise enough for a scalpel.
No, not precise enough for a scalpel. A lot of the other victims that have shown up like this, the wounds have been a little more precise. It's like, was he rushing this one? Is he getting tired? You're not quite sure, but the wounds here don't look as well done. You also notice, as you're looking around, you notice something under the bed. And you see this little white, not shiny thing, but you see this light coloured thing out of the corner of your eye as you're looking over the body, slightly underneath the bed. There's heaps of clothes and shoes and random shit sort of just pushed under there.
Mm-hmm.
You want to pull it out? You want to...
First, before doing it, just doing like a 3D scan of the room to like save everything before I start changing the scene.
Cool. Perfect.
Yep. And then, is there also anything else worth noticing before doing that? Like, just from the scan? Or is that part of the investigation? Should I do a perception as well?
Yeah, actually, roll perception.
18.
As you take the scan of the room, and you look down, you see that white thing.
Mm-hmm.
You notice near the white thing, there's a slight print in the floor on the carpet. It was hard to see there because the carpet has a pattern. But as you look down, you see it might be some sort of boot print. And so you outline that, and you scan that, and you save that.
Yeah.
And you follow it as your AR lights up over the remnants of this boot print as you're noticing it, heading towards the small ensuite. You enter the ensuite. It looks normal, although you see in the waste bin there is a small towel. It has the remnants of blood on it, and as you peer into the waste bin, you see that there is also a bar of soap, white bar of soap, that is covered in a gluggy brown. The sink is completely clean.
Nice of him to clean up. We think we could take this in with us and scans it as well where it is. Is there like on site anyone that can do like higher level scanning
For
like a what's it called, like a team that comes in like as part of the investigation and just see what the brown glowy stuff is?
That would be you, sir. You have connection
okay.
to like the police databases. You just need to piece it together.
Okay.
Did you want to just quickly roll another investigate check as you sort of pack this stuff up? Like you would have those little sort of Ziploc bags and stuff.
Yeah.
You would have already put on gloves. You start to pack that away.
Yep.
Just roll another investigate for me.
24.
24?
Yeah.
Okay. You notice on the side of the basin there is a smudged bit of blood, and in that you get a fragment of a fingerprint in blood.
Nice.
You scan that, you save it along with the boot print.
Mm-hmm.
You collect everything. John takes it and puts it in the sort of military equipment cases. Those sort of black ones, the heavy duty ones. Places it in there. He walks over and points down towards the white thing, and he pulls out his pistol. And he says to you, "It seems pretty messy in here." You suspect that he suspects there might be somebody hiding under the bed because there's so much shit just pushed under there.
Okay.
As he walked around to collect the stuff, he noticed the white thing poking out.
Gaige crouches down and looks under the bed to the white thing.
Alright, you see like shoeboxes and containers and knives and forks and old food wrappers and stuff like that. There's no one under there. As you move some clothes, you see that the white thing is the end of a knife.
Oh, cool.
The knife is still bloody, and he usually leaves them around somewhere.
Oh, okay. Not so cool. Yeah.
Whether it's his calling sign or he's just like, I don't need this anymore, you're not quite sure, but he always leaves them behind. He's used all different types of weapons so far. Although the last victim, it was a similar knife. Its handle is bone. It's very simple. It's got a slightly curved blade, and this time the knife has some symbols carved in it, etched in it. Symbols very similar to the ones that are on the body, and they weren't on the last knife. The handle, if it is all like the forensic report that returned for the previous knife, is made out of human bone.
Gaige groans in disgust, and then he says he puts it in another bag. Alright, we've got all the direct stuff we need to here. Let's cut her down. And he gives John another suit, like a thing, just like a bag, just to put on. Like you have ponchos, and he gives him a poncho thing, and then gets up and John holds her while he cuts the ropes. And they pull her off the spike. Was it ropes to a spike?
Yeah, the ropes are spiked into the roof.
Yeah. And then they gently lay her down on the bed, and closes her eyes and puts a blanket over her as well.
John walks around, and he's just you can see it in his body language. He's angry. This is the 7th person that you've found like this. And he turns to you and he's like, How many more? How many more are we gonna find like this? You just have one more look around, see what you need to see. I'll call the meds and they can come up and collect this body if you think it's fine to move her.
Yeah, it's fine.
And he sort of walks out towards the front door. Do you want to look at anything else while you're here? Do you want to examine anything?
As he's walking out, he goes, John.
Yeah?
We'll get him. We always get him.
Yeah. This one's different, I think.
Well, we got the knife. Just check around, see if there's anything else that looks like there was a fight or a struggle, any more fingerprints or anything like that, marks against the walls. Does it look or I guess she was a bit off her face when he came in, when he busted in. Was there a struggle?
You can do a few things. You can, I would say, roll investigation with advantage because you got so high on the perception check before, and you noticed something. I'll get you to roll that again.
So I rolled twice on the second roll. I got a crit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. You notice indentations in the carpet. They are another set of boots that are bigger than the ones over the other side of the bed that lead towards the bathroom. There might have been 2 people here. You also look over the knife while it's in its bag, and you notice the tiniest little thing poking out between the blade and the bone handle. It looks like a follicle of a hair.
Oh, wow.
You open it back up, you pull out the little hair, and you scan it. It's like covered in blood and that sort of thing, and it's running through the database to see if you can find any DNA match.
Along with the fingerprint?
And the fingerprint.
Yeah.
Cool. It's scanning as well.
Yep.
Okay, nice. Guess what I just rolled? For the database to spit out some info, I rolled a crit.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So, you get back a positive match on the DNA from the follicle. And it seems it half matches with the blood on the side of the basin. It is a half-elf who has been in trouble with the law a few times. It's usually gang-related stuff or supplying to gangs. He usually sells firearms and knives and basically just weapons to sort of younger gangs in the streets. He's been arrested for that, but he's never been arrested for any actual violent stuff. But that is his hair follicle, and that seems to be a fragment of his fingerprint on the basin. You then get a full scan of him. He's got slick back hair and a goatee, quite skinny, smaller frame guy. And his boot size would fit the one that leads to the small ensuite, but it would not fit the description of the boot that is indented in the carpet that leads towards the bed. And so you head over and you follow that back towards the door. And you see some smaller indents, like just where the carpet's been pressed down a little bit. There's no marking or anything like that, but you do notice that on the little metal strip that sort of, what do you call it, that separates the floorboards of the hall outside of the apartment and the carpet inside of the apartment, you notice that there is a slight boot print on there, and there is some sort of dust or dirt or whatever, and you collect that, and you basically send that in. We'll put in, collect a little dust on a swab, and you put it in there. That you're going to have to wait to come back to give you any information of what sort of dust it is, where it's from, all that sort of stuff.
So the guy, we looked him up. So what was the elf's name again?
I did not read it out,
No.
but it is Frederick Carusa.
Okay, it's Frederick Carusa. It's dark elf, flick back hair, goatee.
Half elf.
Half elf.
Yep.
Half dark elf or half elf?
No, just half elf.
Sorry, I just pigeonholing him as being evil. Cool. So is he like? So he's more a small time guy, or is a big time guy with like corporates, or?
Nah, small guy. Small. Yeah. The only crimes they've really done is supplying weapons to like small time gangs.
Yep. Well, he could have been the guy that. He could have been the guy that supplied the knife, but then not really, because his fingerprints on the basin. Okay.
John walks in and he says, "Gaige, on that face. Did you find something? What have we got? What have we got?" He's smiling now.
Yeah, Gaige smiles as well. We might have something. We've got a match on this hair and on the fingerprint on the basin. Looks like we need to go to work.
He pokes his head out and he's like, "Get in here!" And all these sort of like forensic cleanup crew, meds he calls them, they come in and they start to they also scan the room with some with the ocular implants and some other devices, and he's like, "Where are we going?"
All right. want to do a little bit of an investigation. Let's not rush into this. We need to find out if it's right. But on Frederick Caruso.
Caruso. Never heard of him. Let's go pay him a visit.
Wait. I don't think we should... Do we want to let him know that he's onto us yet? I think we might need to follow him a little bit before we let him off. Before we let him know we're onto him.
Alright. Let's do this your way. But as soon as shit goes down, we're doing it my way, alright?
Alright.
Okay, you both climb down this apartment building. You get down to the bottom floor. He gets in his car, you get in yours, and he sends you some information. He's found the usual dealing place for Frederick and his home. And he says, which one do you want to go to? Should we split up? Should we go together?
No, we should go together. Let's go to his usual dealing place. It makes a lot more sense. Like, the two cops would be investigating anything wherever there's deals going down.
Alright. And you drive over there. It's nearby the docks in your city.
Yep.
And you speed over there, both of you. He parks his car and he says, "Hey, come by, swing by and pick me up. I think we should go in the same car. There's no point in us driving two around."
Yep. Yeah, we take the same car.
So he gets in yours.
Yep.
And you drive over to this old, cafe, basically. So amongst all of these warehouses and industrial buildings that are on the docks, and this place is all run down and looks like it hasn't been visited for years. You see a light on inside. All the windows have sort of been boarded up with steel plate. Did you want to enter from the front? Did you want to enter from...
So what time was
back?
it?
It is... it's still... Let's say maybe midday now.
Okay. And what's the actual place? Is it what's the actual building?
It's like an old, down in industrial areas, how they have those small cafes or tuck shop sort of things.
Oh, yeah.
It's like one of those, an old one of those. It's been all boarded up.
Oh, it's okay, so it's all closed now. So we don't have a good reason to just be walking around. We can't just walk in. Let's just stay here for a little bit and see if anything suspicious goes on. Because we're in an unmarked car, right? We're not in a...
Yeah, you're in an unmarked car, yep.
Yep.
And you wait a little while, and let's see. You don't see anything from where you are in the car.
Is John getting antsy?
Yeah. Look, we've been waiting. It's been half an hour. The light's still on in there. I reckon we go in.
We can't just go in. It could be him. It could be someone else completely different. We know this is where he's hung out in the past, but there's nothing determined. All right, let's see if we can
Gaige.
Try and sneak.
This is our city. This is ours, and people doing fucked up shit like this here, doesn't go past me. I'm gonna stop him, Gaige. And if I have to go in there and bust a couple heads of some street trash that are selling weapons to kids, I'm gonna do it.
Let's see if we can go around and just be a little bit quiet about it.
Alright, fine. But just because when this is all done, you owe me a fucking barbecue. Alright?
Alright.
I want a steak, a big steak. Let's go. He gets out of the car, closes the door, walks towards the building.
Yep. Can I do perception? Oh, we've been also watching this house for like half an hour.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think you really need to. You've driven around the block and you've noticed that in a small alleyway behind it, where it backs onto one of the warehouses, there is like a back door near some trash cans. But then there is the front one as well.
Okay.
It seems like the only way out is one of those doors.
Yes. All right, John. You go around the back just in case someone does a runner. There's a lot of side windows that are bolted, so they won't be able to do anything there. And I'll go say hello.
All right. And you see him creep around the side of the building. You go up to the front door?
Yep.
Cool. What do? You knock?
Yeah, knock on the door. Just I do have a weapon, right? Just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got like a gun, and usually police detectives will carry like a mace.
Yeah, Gaige kind of like walks up and does like a tap with the back of his knuckles on the door. Nothing too threatening.
All right. You hear inside like,
Who's there?
Look, I'm Detective Gaige. We had some issues in the area. I just wanted to have a quick chat with you guys.
We're not open for business. We're not open.
Yeah, that's okay. I just got a couple short questions for you, and then we'll be fine.
Shit.
you hear him say,
Okay. I'm gonna open the door.
and you hear like a little clicking of a latch. And the door slowly opens. You see this half-elf with sort of greasy, slick back hair and a goatee. He's got like a scar on his forehead, wearing like a black hoodie, jeans, some boots. You notice that his hands have cuffs on them.
Okay. Is this our guy?
This is the guy that you were looking for, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because
He looks down at your pistol
Sorry.
and he's like, "Whoa!
that's okay. I'm putting this away. It was just in case. No, I didn't have my pistol out. I just
Okay.
checking if it's there. It's like Frederick. Good seeing you here.
How did you know my name?
Hey, we've been looking into some different things in the area, and your name came up. I was just wondering what you were doing last night.
I was here."
You got anyone to corroborate that story?
Nope.
Oh,
Just me.
just you? Well, I wonder if you come down to the department with us and answer a few questions.
I've got a busy day ahead of me, but I guess I can.
Okay, that's good. We're not really charging you with anything right now. We just need you to come down for a little bit.
It'll be a 16 versus your AC.
Yeah, that hits.
Alright. He like shoulder charges you, slamming you into your chest, pushing you backwards. Can you roll a dex saving throw for me?
11.
Alright. You basically you fall prone. You fall over. He hits you that hard, and he begins to run. As you're knocked over, you hear John say, "Is everything okay?" across your communication.
No, he's running!
You hear a smash, footsteps, and it's within seconds. John has kicked down that back door and run through this small little tuck shop, and he's chasing the perp out. And he says, "You get the car. I want you to head around the other side of these warehouses, try and catch him off."
Keep your AR feed going. And then Gaige gets up and runs to the car.
All right. You see in the sort of like a bird's eye view GPS view that he's tagged this Carusa, and he's chasing him down these little alleyways and through this warehouse. You get in the car and you sort of speed around the side to try and head him off, and then you see them stop in the warehouse, in one of the warehouses, and you get out and pistol drawn. You make your way into this warehouse where these two are stopped on the GPS, and you see them in the warehouse. And John's laying into him. He throws him into these big metal barrels, and then runs over and stomps on his chest and then picks him up and punches him in the face, and you hear John yelling,
Who else was there? There were 2 of you.
and the guy's still got his cuffs on. And he's like, no, he took me there to show me what my handiwork would be doing. I didn't want any of it. And John punches him in the face and then stomps on his leg, breaking his shin bone. And he's like,
You're gonna tell me who he is now, or you're not gonna leave this place. You're gonna die in this shitty warehouse on this shitty floor.
and you just make it over in time before John pulls out his short sword and he presses the guy to the ground with by his throat and has the short sword right at his eyes.
And he says, You're gonna tell me now.
John, what are you doing? You're gonna kill him.
He was there. He knows who it is.
If you kill him, we won't have anything.
Alright, I won't kill him, but I'll just take him out piece by piece until he tells us where this guy is and who this guy is. This Carusa's not leaving here alive until he tells me. Gaige, I've had enough of this. Malcolm, listen to me. I've had enough of this.
Calm down, buddy. Calm down. What's the guy doing? Is he just crying on the floor?
Yeah, he's just whimpering, and you hear him saying stuff like,
He just took me there. I didn't want any of it. He just wanted me to show me what my knife would be doing. He brought me a bone and he said make a knife.
and he's just whimpering and cowering and crying. And John yells, "Shut up!" and he punches him in the face again.
John, what are you doing? He's telling us what we're supposed to find out. I grab his shoulder.
And you pull John's shoulder, and he stabs the short sword into the guy's leg, pushes you, and he says,
I've been doing this side of things for a while now. You look at all your data, all your evidence, and you piece things together, and we put bad guys away. But sometimes bad guys like this, and like the guy we're chasing, they don't need to be put away, they need to be put down. Because you know what's gonna happen? We get the information from this guy. Yeah, he'll be an accessory to the crimes, to the mutilations, and he'll go away in a prison cell, and he'll be sitting there, and he'll get fed 3 or 4 times a day. He'll get a dive helmet, and he can spend the rest of his life wherever he wants, on a tropical island, live a life of luxury in VR. But you know what we have to do? We have to chase pieces of shit like this all over the city. And if I have to put a hole or a slash in 1 or 2 of these pieces of shit to put them away forever, where they don't get any respite, where they go directly to one of the 9 hells, then I'll do it, Gaige. I'm done with these people.
and he just turns away and pulls the short sword free of Carusa's leg, and he says, looking down at Carusa, he says,
You gotta tell me who he is and where he is.
His leg's broken, right? Smashed in.
Carusa, yeah.
Yeah, Caruso, okay. John, you need to get off him now.
And you grab him by the back of his top, and he swings and hits you with his elbow, and he says,
Malcolm, back off!
and then you go to grab the blade out of his hand. Can I get you to make a dex check?
4. This is what we do, John. If we do this, you're gonna get this one guy, and then you're going down for good as well, and you'll be in VR right next to the rest of these shitheads.
For killing me here, after he tells us everything, nobody will know!
And he tries to push away, and you both struggle with this blade, and now this blade comes down and it slashes you across the pec, across the shoulder slightly, and you stumble back bleeding, and you're looking at your partner, your best friend, as he's just cut you, and then everything just goes black. Your ears adjust and your head adjusts from this force explosion. You see Gaige laying still, and then you see him begin to shake again.
Cortaine is knocked unconscious.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Cortaine is standing there, looking down at what's just happened. He's attacked his fellow mercenary, his teammate, and he presses the button on his helmet. It all moves away from his head. Then this shockwave pushes him backwards, and he slams his head against one of the partitions in this room, falling down unconscious. And Brax looks towards Little Moss, Spigs, Thundergunk, and he says,
Let me take him to a medical facility. He will get immediate medical treatment. I've I've got contracts. I don't know what type of life cover this guy has, but from the research that we did on him, he isn't from New Ettica, so he probably doesn't have any cover. I can save him.
And then another ripple shockwaves out of Gaige as he arcs his back again, and his body convulses. All of his veins tense up again over his neck and his head, and another shockwave comes out, pushing you all down. This time, not as bad. You guys take 3 force damage. No psychic damage this time. Brax looks at you. Again, Spigs.
What was that?
Cortaine. He sees Cortaine on the ground. He looks up and he says,
There's a medical facility nearby. Well, not really nearby, but fairly close. Within 30 minutes. We can get him there. We can get him there now. You're gonna have to help him.
what do you want to do?
What's going on? What's happening to him? Can we even touch him?
It seems that whatever magic this guy has, it's leaking from him. I've seen something like this a long time ago, but if we don't get him help soon, it'll kill him.
Do we need like special gloves or something to touch him? I don't want to get like, radiation poisoning or magic death.
I don't know, but we need to leave soon.
Alright, screw it. I got my metal hand. So Spigs goes and tries and picks him up.
Brax stands and one arm around pulls Gaige up. You come along, you pick him up as well. What's Little Moss doing?
I would like to assist.
Alright. You basically see that these two guys have Gaige under control. Holding him up. Every now and then there's this, he shudders and convulses, and his hands just turn into this intense grip-like shape, and then another shockwave pushes out. They seem to be erratic. Sometimes they're really strong, sometimes the shockwaves are quite weak and just knock you about a bit. You see Thundergunk there. He straightens his glasses and he runs over to Cortaine and he's like,
What the hell, man? What the... Does he do this shit all the time? Cut you guys down? What the fuck?
and he's scratching his hair and he's like,
What do we do with him? This massive suit? We can't pick him up.
Who's there?
Little Moss.
I'm unconscious.
Spigs.
Oh, I'll pick him
Also
up.
unconscious.
I must be able to lift him. Come on.
Alright, roll a strength check.
17.
Nope. You cannot lift him.
Oh, come on.
He's in a massive armored suit, bigger than Iron Man.
Oh, okay. Can I try and...
Wait. Bigger than Hulkbuster Iron Man or normal
No.
Iron Man?
Normal
Okay.
Iron Man, not
Okay,
Hulkbuster.
thank you.
Not yet, anyway.
That helps me.
Can I try and revive Cortaine and get him to help me, or is he...
Yeah, you can definitely try that. You can roll a healing check to stabilize him. You can look over his person, see if he's got anything there.
Yeah. Can I slap him too?
You can definitely do so. Roll a healing check or a medicine check, whichever it's called in 5th edition.
Okay. 17.
17? Alright. Cortaine, you are stabilized.
Okay.
Roll
Now can I
a,
slap him to wake him up?
roll a 1d4 for me.
If I send him backwards, I'm not going to be happy.
Oh,
with
no.
myself.
Cortaine, roll a 1d4.
3.
Alright. It'll be 3 hours until you wake up unless they use a stim or some shit on you. Spigs and Brax, Spigs, do you make your way in a certain direction?
Which way is this hospital?
Well, we've got to get out of here. I think you called him a bonehead? What the bonehead mage said is that there's a big robot, like some sort of death robot out the back, so we probably shouldn't go that way. Did you guys drive? I parked out the front. He can come in my car, but there may not be space for all of us.
Yeah, we're all at the front. Let's go that way. Sounds good.
All right, you guys make your way out of bookies towards the front door. Little Moss, do you want to do anything else?
I didn't slap him, did I?
Yeah, you can slap him.
Yeah.
All right, you slap him. He doesn't wake up.
Okay. It was worth a shot.
I'm gonna roll an intel check for Thundergunk here. 17.
Hey, little Moss, do you think he's got any stims or something on him to wake him up? I don't want to just leave him here.
I don't know. I mean, I can have a look through his stuff.
All right, roll a perception check. Actually, no, roll an investigation check with advantage.
Ugh. 12.
You find...
Wait, is it in Cortaine's inventory?
I'm pretty sure he has one left.
Yep.
Okay.
There is basically like a tube with a little cap on it. It's a stim. You've seen them before. Basically, it's like an adrenaline shot.
I take it and I administer the adrenaline into his heart. Like, is it
You cannot reach it.
Is it like a Sean Connery, The Rock scenario, or
the only the only skin you can see is Cortaine's neck, the front of his neck, and his face.
okay?
Otherwise, he's covered in basically like a power armor.
Straight to his eyeball.
All right. Can I just all right, gently into like his neck?
Yep. It wasn't one of the page longleaf stims, which would give you healing dice. It heals you for 2d6, and you get an extra d4 temporary hit points, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
So heal up that.
Yeah.
And as he jabs you with it, this adrenaline pumps through you, and you kick awake. You know, like when you wake up and you've dreamed about falling, and your leg kind of goes up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what just happened to you.
Okay, cool. I wake up, looking around very anxious and kind of like when you wake up from a nightmare. What do I see?
Little Moss is standing over you. Thundergunk with his sort of dull tealish skin, his black hair, and his Ray-Ban type of glasses, looking down, and he's like, "Cortaine, you awake?"
Yeah. What's going on? What happened?
I slapped you and you didn't wake up.
The half-orc other guy and Spigs are taking Gaige out of here. They're saying that they're gonna take him to some medical facility. I don't know where it is. I'm gonna get out of here, man. I just wanted to make sure you're okay because you're one of my best mercs. I can't just leave you behind.
Thanks, Thundergunk. Why, Little Moss? Why is that half? Why is that? Is he? Wait, he's not a half orc, is he? Is he full orc?
Brax?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a half orc.
Yeah. What are we doing with that half orc? What? I thought I killed him.
I mean, your guess really is as good as mine. I've been conscious slightly longer than you have, but as to what we intend to do with him, I mean, I feel like it's open for discussion at this point. I think we should conference.
Alright, and we're going to cut to Brax and Spigs. You guys are pushing out of the reception doors into the streets of Darkhaven, out of the bookies. There are various cars parked along the street and the big, massive, tall buildings above you with all the cables and fire escapes, neon signs hanging off of them, the plumes of steam rising up. The whole street is a rainbow of lights, though it still seems dark and dank and dreary because this isn't the nicest part of Darkhaven, and Darkhaven is definitely not the nicest part of New Ettica. Brax points towards a larger black SUV across the street, and he says,
Come on, I'll drive. I know where I'm going. You should probably just hold my jacket over his wound. We don't want him to bleed out in the back of the SUV.
and he makes his way across the road.
His car's across the road?
Yeah, his car's across the road.
Yeah.
As he gets over there, he sort of motions towards the car and he goes, bloop, bloop. you see the orange lights flicker on the side of it, and he opens up the back door, and you both put Gaige inside. As Brax opens the front door, or the driver's side door, sits in and presses the ignition, the SUV rumbles to life, and we will cut back to Little Moss and Cortaine in the bookies. Bodies everywhere.
Yep.
Cortaine is just getting to his feet. Thundergunk has made his way out of this room. He basically said, "I'm out of here," and he started to bail.
So, like I was saying, like, you know, do you feel like we should create a subcommittee or
On what? What?
on what we should do next, or like, should we just act?
The other hostages in the room, I think there was 2 more hostages. They're looking really awkward. They've got cuts all over them. They're like shivering, and they like watching you guys really oddly. They sort of one of the guys is like, "Hey, can I leave?"
Are any of them from the Edict of Iron?
Hold on, we haven't voted.
No, he's just a random guy.
Yeah, those other 2 guys were shot, weren't they?
Yeah.
Do we have quorum?
I think we should let these hostages go, but if they need, I can give them some first aid if they need it.
I vote to leave. Can we go? And the other guy's like, "Yeah."
It's like, are you guys members?
Can we go? Members? I'm okay. I got a couple cuts, but I'm fine. Bye. And the other guy just
So they're just like
out.
bodies around us, aren't they?
the other guy at the door is like, okay, thanks,
Well, they were lovely.
and he leaves too.
So where
Just
are they
lovely.
taking? Where are they taking Gaige?
No, I don't know. They said something like, blah, 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 hospital.
Would
something.
would Cortaine know where the nearest hospital is?
Yeah, you would know where the nearest
Excellent.
hospital is, for sure.
I don't listen!
Just keep in mind, this place has some sort of shielding, so you can't call out. There was some sort of something that maybe the Technomage putting. It's the reason you guys couldn't call in, or Thundergunk couldn't call out properly. It's because there was like a dampening field of sorts.
Yes, I will try anyway, though, thinking that perhaps if the Technomage left, then that might be all clear. So I will try to call. I'll try to call Spigs.
You try to call him through your helmet as it all sort of comes back on, and you just get in your vision. You just get this thing that says no signal. Beep beep.
Okay. Well, did you want to go? We should go after them, Little Moss.
Fine.
But should we see what we can find out about the this new gang? See if see if these boneheads have any information on them, or even the Edict of Eye members.
So, should we scour their remains?
Yeah.
Their
You can
stuff?
do that if you like.
Their pockets?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
All right. Who would like to take the lead? I will give them an advantage on an investigation check.
That's more your thing, dude. You do it.
I will try.
All right. Roll with advantage. As Little
Well,
Moss
that
is
was
helping
good.
you look around.
I rolled a 1, but with advantage, that's an 8.
You go to try and like check their jacket pockets, but your big mechanical armored fingers don't quite fit in them properly. You guys don't find anything of note. Like, you find some extra ammo cartridges for their submachine guns and rifles and such. And a dagger here, a short sword there, a phone or a communicator that's completely smashed, like there's a bullet through it.
Isn't there a part where they pull out this big like map with like all the henchmen locations? Like, what's this? Oh, it's just garbage. And they throw it away.
One of
It's like confidential. That can't be important.
Also treasure, and they like throw it in the bin.
yeah. Should we? I don't know. Should we grab one of these uniforms just in case we need it in the future?
Yeah, I love dress-ups.
Well, I'll let you grab it.
All right,
Okay, I'll get the extra
you
large.
can. There was an orc in there, so you can pull off his large bonehead helmet thing. It's not exactly the same as the other ones, but you can take that definitely. And his red Letterman jacket with its hood, its white arms, and the ammo pouches and stuff in the inside. And you basically get that for free. You can add that to your inventory. It's bloody and it's got some bullet and slash holes in it, but it's still wearable. And we will cut back to the others in the car, and the car now takes off down the street. The engine rumbling sounds like a pretty formidable vehicle, Spigs, as you're listening to the engine, and you can still hear it through in the cabin. So it's got a pretty big engine on it. And Brax is speeding through the streets, weaving through traffic. He rolled advantage on his driving check because he's a very good driver. And he got a 20 and a 17. There's a point where there's all of this traffic. He holds the horn down and drives into like a little market area, and all these people start running, and he sort of like speeds through, pulls the handbrake, and drifts the car around like a little stall, missing all the people, swerves back onto the road around the traffic jam. He then pulls out of his vest that he's got on. He pulls out his cigar, lights it as he turns back onto the street, lights his cigar, keeps it in the corner of his mouth, fixes the rear vision mirror, looking at Spigs, and he asks,
How's he doing?
Wait a second. Are you're Brax?
Yeah?
What? I didn't know it was you?
You didn't recognize me inside the bookies?
No, you didn't have the cigar in your mouth.
He actually laughs, like he verbally laughs, and you see him like almost facepalm a little bit, and he says,
I don't know if you're the worst mercenary I've ever met, or if you're just the funniest one.
Focusing back on the road, he continues driving.
So can't it be both?
And he says to Spigs, after they weave through some more traffics,
Not far now. We've got to go into Central District.
Why don't you just... Why are you helping us? Why don't you just kill us?
Well, I was thinking about it, but Gaige here, he saved my life back there. I'm gonna repay the debt. You see,
But...
the quicker I get him to the medical facility, the quicker our debt is paid, and the quicker I'm done with you people.
So you drop us off at the hospital and then you kill us?
It's not really a regular hospital. It's a medical facility of sorts. Very high tech. They'll be able to help him.
It's more of a vet.
He's got a broken leg. Got to put him down.
he's like a horse.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he is.
as you speed through the streets, you see in the distance this tall tower, and through the alleyways and the cracks between buildings, the spaces between buildings, you see a big blue sign at the top of this tower. Brax says,
There it is.
and the sign says EXOKAST. That's EXOKAST. And we will cut back to the other two guys at the bookies. Have you guys left it yet, or are you still in there?
We've left.
Yeah, no, we're on our way.
All right,
Yeah,
you
so
head out
we're
into
gonna
the
go to
streets.
the closest hospital.
As you head out into the streets, Little Moss and Cortaine, you both see in your AR, on your glasses or your helmet, you see that there is now signal.
Oh, cool. So then, let's call Spigs.
Sprigs. Spigs, your communicator's calling.
Spigs answers it. Hello?
Where are you, Spigs? You okay?
Who's this?
You know who it is. It says who it is. Or he's just trolling.
Who new phone? Who this?
I'm not sure. We might need help. Brax has maybe kidnapped us. I didn't know who he was until he put the cigar in his mouth. We may be gonna die.
Where are you?
If you,
How's Gaige?
I'm in his car. We're going to the special hospital. You know, the dumping ground.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm all confused.
Just send me your address. Send me your position.
Just ping me.
Look, it's 8 milliseconds. There you go. 8 milliseconds.
Alright, you get a GPS location 8 milliseconds later. You see Spigs has tagged himself, and they're driving towards, or actually they're now in the Central District, which is basically like a social echelon above people from Darkhaven. It's that's basically where a lot of the corporate buildings are. Like, there are some corporate buildings in Darkhaven, but they're smaller businesses. Central District is where like the mega corps are, and you guys don't often go there. This place is not, I wouldn't say heavily policed, but there is a bigger security, private security and police force there, usually run by the various mega corporations, not so much the city police. They still exist there in their hover cars and their speeders and stuff flying around, but their presence isn't as big as the private security, so it can be pretty dangerous if you cross the wrong megacorp. Now,
Would it be weird for me to turn up in a giant power armor suit?
you're a merc, so most likely not.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice of you.
Unless you, smash into a megacorp's front lobby, and that would be weird to them. They'd probably shoot back.
Yeah, but it's not like I'll just be walking around and they'll be like, freeze!
Nah, people will look at you and might question you, but you're not going to just get arrested for walking around in it.
Cool.
The only real difference is you're allowed to walk through a drive-through in power armor.
Yes. For safety reasons, you're allowed to.
Hey.
Now, I believe you guys all drove to the bookies in Spigs' car and Spigs' truck and someone else's.
Yeah, and
I think there was 3. There was, because both myself and I think Jeff went round the back in other vehicles. Unless when I dropped them off. Did I drop them off?
Oh, yeah. Gaige did leave his car around the corner with Spigs'.
I don't know if we're going to be able to nick their rides. Should we just get a taxi?
Yeah, can we get that guy we had when that guy that dropped us at the library? He was very accommodating.
Do you have his number?
No, isn't there an app?
What?
There's got to be a future app for
Well,
this.
you'd know, not me. You do it.
It's called the service is called Uber Bond.
No, that's the Icy Pole. It was called Maxi, wasn't it?
Oh, Maxi Bond.
No, it was Uberbon.
Yeah, but that was the ice cream. But the the cab service was called.
Oh, it was Maxi Cab.
Maxi.
Yeah.
That was a Maxi cab. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can I request him on the Maxi app?
There's a few people working tonight, but as you scroll through a list of drivers, that gentleman, that hobgoblin that drove you to the library and that you guys did a medicine check on to make sure that his lump wasn't going to be anything too bad. He's not on the list.
Maybe he died from the lump. we did him a
Yeah.
disservice. All right. Well, let's just get the nearest guy.
All right. You guys wait like maybe a minute, 46 seconds. And what was it called? What was the company? There was actually a company that they used. Sunset. It was Sunset Cabs, yeah. So you order the cab through Maxi Cabs. It's an app, and a Sunset Cab rocks up. In the front seat, there is a halfling. You don't see halflings often. They're sort of rare. He's sitting in there, and he's like, "Oi, boys, get in."
I don't know if we should trust him. I don't see many of his kind around.
I say let's get in, and if any funny business happens, I reckon we can take him.
Oh,
Yeah, fair call.
you're a huge fella. And he says it to Cortaine, and then looks at Moss, and he's like, "You're both huge fellas." Oh, all right. Try and fit, I guess.
Just take us this address, and then I tell him the address.
All right. You both squeeze into this taxi. It's a ground car, it's not a hover car, and so the back of it is riding along the ground, and as the car drives off, we see the side profile of it, and the front of the taxi's like pretty high. The back of it, the actual plastic bumper bar is scraping along the ground. And we will cut to Spigs, Brax, and Gaige. We see these massive buildings stretching up to the sky. And now as you drove around the side of this skyscraper, you see that there's a high wall with like, what's it called? Barbed wire wrapping around the top of it. And you see this massive Goliath screen. There are changing pictures on it, medical equipment, happy people, patients in bed that smile at the screen, a man with a cybernetic arm throwing a baseball to his son who catches it in a leather glove, and 2 words that are static as the pictures and the videos are playing in the background. And a voice comes out of this screen. And the 2 words are EXOKAST Industries. And as the voice says it, it's basically says EXOKAST. And then it starts to list off some of the things that they make and some of the initiatives that they have. And you skirt the building and you get around to this large loading dock area, and there's this huge rolling gate that rolls left to right. And you see, walking around outside and inside this area that you're seeing right now, there are these heavily armed security officers. And as you pull up to the front gates, they put out a hand and point rifles at the car. Now Brax jumps out and walks towards the gate. And a security guard points his rifle at Brax, saying,
Don't come any closer! This facility is private property!
Brax yells out,
Authentication 3-1 Bravo Tango Delta 5 Echo Delta North Delta.
The guard replies,
Yes, sir! Open these gates!
A guard in the control booth, just sort of behind the gate, stands up and he taps on this big screen. Brax points at the car and he says,
We've got injured, and I need a medical room prepared now. If he dies, you die!
And he pokes the security guard in the chest and he sort of stumbles back, and the security guard nods. And you see this blue sign above this loading dock area that says EXOKAST Industries Central District Medical Facility. And as the gates open, Brax runs back to the car, gets in the SUV, takes it out of park, drives all the way up to the loading dock. He gets out and he opens the door and he says, It shouldn't be too long. The security team, like one of the guys runs inside these big double doors, and moments later this taxi rocks up. Just as you, Spigs, notice these people pushing through this big double door, and out of the taxi you see Little Musk climb out and Cortaine in his big armor climb out, and the taxi driver is he's holding his hands up, this little halfling, as security forces are pointing their guns at the taxi and the people around it.
I tell them that we're with those people. I point over to...
The security guard says,
Sir!
Brax looks around and he says,
They're fine. Unless they cause any trouble, don't harm them.
Spigs and the rest of you guys, you see people coming out of these double doors. And they're like a medical response team. They've got these goggles. They've got some sort of AR in it. You can see like this shining light in them. They've got like rebreathers, complete white outfits, aprons, that sort of thing. Hair nets. And Brax turns towards you guys and says,
You may all come if you wish. You don't trust me. That's fine, I don't blame you. But I owe a life debt to the Lieutenant Detective Gaige here. The sooner I pay it back, the sooner my honor will be at peace. So come or stay, I don't give a fuck.
Then this, behind this medical team, you see them, like they're pushing like a gurney, basically like a bed thing with this plastic covering on it. They come over to the car.
Hold on. As they open the door, like Spigs is still inside the vehicle and on the back seat, like next to Gaige.
Yep.
And when they open the door, they see Spigs leaning back, holding a Thunderfire can, like with like fear in his eyes, going, "You won't take him! You won't take us! You're not gonna kill us!"
Sir, please. We're just here to help. We promise. Please put the weapon down.
Brax says,
I don't care what Brax.
I want to see where this goes.
Spigston,
I don't care what Brax has paid. You're not taking my friend's life.
We're not gonna take his life. We're a medical facility. We're gonna help him. We promise. I promise you. I'm a doctor. My first and only authority is to save and protect, not to harm. I promise you, sir. I promise you. Please put the weapon down. Please put the weapon down.
Brax says,
Spigston, come on.
No.
Last
time.
A little Moss and I there.
yeah, you guys are probably like 20 meters from the car at most. Oh, sorry, from the situation, I should say.
I call out and say, Spigs, let them take him.
I think Spigs is like really in shock and he's just not hearing what's going on, and he's just like, anyone's coming near him, he's gonna like open fire.
All right. You see Gaige shudder again, and one of those shockwaves emanates out, and the car rocks. Spigs and all the people around the car take 5 force damage. Not Cortaine or Gaige. Sorry, not Cortaine, Gaige, or Little Moss. You guys are fine. It's just everyone at the SUV.
Yep.
So all the doctors and the medical response team, they like stumble back, and like the guy's like, "Please, sir, let us help him."
Spigs drops the Thunderfire cannon, and he like just unconscious from like the damage. He just passes out.
The shockwave pushes him, and he just drops the thunder cannon, falls out of the car. Brax grabs him and drags him out of the way, and he says, "Go!" And the medical team take Gaige out of the car. They lift him up and place him on the hovering gurney. Brax looks over at Cortaine and Little Moss, and he says,
Come on, I'll help Spigs too.
I say, I'll help our friend. You've done enough.
Brax lets him go, and he steps back, putting his hands up. He takes the cigar out of his mouth, and he like flicks the ash away, puts it back, and he looks up towards somebody towards the medical facility, and you see this elf in all black, this really perfectly tailored, fitted suit, and this elf has parted white hair. He's very pale. He's got a thin white pencil mustache and purple eyes. He nods and says, "Brax-san." Brax looks back at him and says,
Setsuna, we've got to help him. The detective here first, and then the dwarf if he needs help.
and the elf says, "You have my facility at your disposal."
What is happening to Gaige? He seems to be having some sort of psychic force shock thingy-ma-gadget. Hope he's okay. He will be, I think. I'm Crux, the dimensional demon bard, and I'll be seeing you next time, traveler.
Alright. Alright. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening to our podcast, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here with us in this room, letting us in your ears in other occasions. We really like being in people's ears.
Website www.beyondthedice.com. Go there.
Our Instagram is also pretty fun and less aggressive than Travis. We take D&D, RPG, and nerd/geek pics, so check it out
What-
there
what
at
pics?
Beyond the Dice.
Oh, okay. Dick pics.
Okay, cool,
He definitely
good.
said.
I said
dick
nerd/geek. I did not say dick, did I?
Nah.
If we can get away with it, you can also
didn't.
find similar things on our Facebook page at facebook.com/btdpod.
Oh, you know what's really awesome? As of now, we are now on Spotify.
Hell yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Wait, are we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we
Oh,
are.
I didn't see that in the outro. Woo!
Yeah. But I'm not sure if you can review on Spotify, but what you should do if you do get a chance to review wherever you are, wherever you're listening, wherever your heart content is to our podcast, you should put a review, because then others will see it and others will know the happiness.
Yes.
And the
Oh, you
awkwardness.
searching this right
when
now.
when I
That's awkward.
see a review, which it warms my heart, it makes me happiness too.
Oh, this is amazing. I can't believe this is actually on Spotify.
Yeah, it's good. It's great.
Also, if you want us to do some like small things, like maybe Beyond the Dice has its own playlist where we put all our cool music that we've borrowed / got the rights for other people, and make a list, and then you can listen to all the cool vibes.
Yeah, if you guys do reviews for us and let us know if you want like a Spotify playlist with all the songs and the music that I have put in the show, then let us know on a review and we'll be happy to do so. Well, anyway, friends and cyborgs and hobgoblins and humans and elves and all you people out there, have a good evening, and we'll be in your ears not next Sunday, but the Sunday after.
Good night.
Bye.
People.
Bye.
No! All of this is just to make sure I don't screw up Facebook, isn't it?
No, you can screw something else up. That's fine.
Facebook can screw itself up.
Okay, so to our listeners, to you.
What? Where's Jeff?
Oh, I thought that was. I thought it was like some huge
Bang,
meta
bang.
thing, like Gaige is dead, and therefore.
Oh no!
He's
Yeah,
never coming
he's
back.
not dead. Or is he? Bum, bum, bum.
What are we gonna do
All
with all
right,
these character sheets?
let me start that one again.
You're the man, Jeff.
The man, Jeff. All right, the man, Angelo. All right.